Welcome to another edition of the ISB podcast. I'm your host, Sahil, here with Chris today, and of course, our resident Reggae Boys fan, expert. What do you want to call it? Chris? It's very close to the Copa America now. This weekend, it all kicks off. So, is Jamaica ready? That's the question.
Oh boy, let me tell you, Sahil. I was feeling a lot better about the chances maybe about a week or so ago, before we started with the World Cup qualifiers. We had a couple of those at home against DR, 1-0 win. At Dominica, what was a 3-0 game turned into a 3-2 game with some pretty critical mistakes later on. And that play on the field rather looked a little shaky. And then we got the roster announcement last week. And then we got the updates to the roster. And maybe you could put it on screen because there's some asterisks that need to be put on this list.
All right, Chris. Let's go into it. Let's put this thing down. We got to talk. Yeah, that Dominica game, I saw that, and I was sure you had comments about that one because that thing got a little bit fuzzy, to say the least. So let's show this. By the way, it's always this beautiful graphic. I think the designer of this came in the comments for our YouTube channel, right?
I think it was Siobhan, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all let us know in the comments if that's him. Shout out to MG Sports TV. I see his logo there.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start with the keepers. And this is the biggest loss right here. Andre Blake, who was unavailable for the last two games, is coming off a meniscus procedure on his knee. He is questionable to doubtful to play any of the games in this group stage. I don't have the latest update on what his health looks like, but that's the reason why you see 4 as opposed to the usual 3 keepers on the roster. He's kind of being brought, sort of as a player coach for the keepers.
So who gets in? Who gets in if he doesn't play?
Jamali Waite's going to be the starter most likely. He's got the most games under his belt. He's been a captain before. But I don't think there's any question. Like, look, you're talking about one of the best keepers in CONCACAF. There's going to be a drop-off there. And, yeah, there's maybe a goal or two that he saves that maybe Waite does not. It's not that Waite hasn't proven capable in this role, but there's a reason why Blake has been the starter, going back almost a decade now. So that's a huge loss.
He's been a legend, Jamaican legend right there. Okay, what's going on the defense?
All right, for the defense, Joel Adeboudir, I think, is questionable to probable. He was off of and actually he's listed as a midfielder. He'll probably play in defense. You see a very defender-heavy roster here, and I think that gives you an insight into the type of game that Halgrimson's going to play. You're going to see 4 to 5 in the back in many instances, and I think Amari Bell, he is also questionable. I believe coming off an ACL tear that was either late last year or early this year. So he, I think, may also be in sort of a player coach role. If they get out of the group stage, he might play, but it's a similar situation to Blake. He is questionable to doubtful, I think.
What other asterisks we got here? It sounded like an asterisk roster here, Chris.
Unfortunately, it is, and I don't think I've gotten to the biggest ones yet, because the biggest asterisks are on the attacking side with the forwards. Leon Bailey and Dejon Richards. Leon Bailey and his agent Craig Butler have been in a civil war with the Jamaican Football Federation. And if you remember, there was the suspension after missing curfew in the Canada games for the quarterfinals of the Nations League, and then subsequently the suspension and what turned into an indefinite sabbatical that Bailey said he was on. He was listed on the roster after some preliminary conversations between JFF staff and his representation, but it looks like while he was listed on the roster, he is not going to be in the camp.
Yeah.
And then the other one, Dejon Richards, who is also a product of the Phoenix Academy. I believe I don't think he's going to be playing either. He was listed with an undisclosed injury prior to the last 2 games for the World Cup qualifiers, and his status honestly is even more of a question than Bailey's. I don't think he's necessarily gone on record and said anything regarding his status. There's some question that, you know, he's been having some nice standout performances with Chelsea's youth team, so maybe they want to settle that situation with him, either get him, you know, decided on whether he wants to play another season with them or get a loan situation to another team where he can be.
So this is where it says 26-man roster. That really should say something else.
23, 24, 22. I don't know.
All right. So can I put away this beautiful graphic now? Are we done with this?
Yeah.
You want to say anything more? No, we're done. Okay. Cool.
No.
Let's put that away. Oh, here it is again for everyone. Just to, you know,
we can admire it a little bit more.
They can admire that. They can admire that, and then we can go back to this. Okay. So based on all this, Chris, you know, what? Obviously, the big games this weekend, and I'm just going to end the show with this. How are you feeling with all this stuff that happens? The Jamaica game, they're winning 3-0, they lose 2. There's all this, you know, circus going on with Leon Bailey. How you feeling? What's the deal?
Like I said, I'm not feeling as good as I felt a couple weeks ago. We had talked about the first that they're trying to get, the first goal, the first points, and potentially the first wins or advancement out of the group stage. I feel pretty confident about them being able to score a goal or goals in this tournament. I think they should be able to scratch a draw against one of these 3 teams and be able to get a point. I don't know how I feel about getting wins, and I really don't know about advancing out of the group stage. Let's say I'm going to the second game in Vegas for the Ecuador game. You will not find me at the bookie putting any bets on Jamaica.
All right, well, we got to end the show on a high note, Chris. So, all right, so what do all the Reggae Boyz fans got to know right now? Let's end there, and also for the fans who aren't Reggae Boy fans yet, what's the story with them? Because COPA America is here, it's upon us. We're all excited. If you're enjoying these videos, subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you all the COPA America action. Chris, on to you, and we'll end it there.
Hey, look, in spite of all the adversity, the motto of this team, the Reggae Girls team, also find a way. Got to find a way to get some goals, to get some points, to get something positive out of this tournament. And I do think that the players that are there are going to compete and be professionals and, you know, try to represent the country and the team very well. Got a strong coach in Hallgrimson with good game plan. So hopefully they've scouted up a way to try and get some points off these teams.
All right. Let's go. Let's go. COPA America is right here.